Good morning. Welcome to Sunday Morning Coffee with Lisa. I'm Spiritual Coach Lisa Hopp. It is Sunday, July 28th. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me. I took a couple-week break. I actually went on vacation a couple weeks ago to a trip of a lifetime, a trip that I was planning for actually several years. I went to French Polynesia, Bora Bora, and it was everything that I was afraid to expect it would be. It was the most beautiful place. It had crystal clear, pool-like water. It was peaceful. The people were warm and friendly. The weather was beautiful. It had no humidity, 81, sunny. It was everything I could hope for. I have gone through a bit of a sadness since coming back, but I think it's because perhaps a chapter is over, because I spent so much time thinking about it, planning it, paying for it, and now what? So now it's time to concentrate on the new chapter, and that's what I've been working on. So last week I was supposed to be back, and I spent over 25 hours each way traveling, and on the way there, because they're behind time for us, I didn't really miss out on time, but on the way back I did kind of lose a day. So all week long last week I was a day behind. So I realized late Sunday that I was not late Saturday, and I totally missed a podcast. So for those of you that I am so grateful that you enjoy listening, I apologize. I just was still in the process of getting my act together. So today's topic is loving you. And the you is in all caps, and add the exclamation point because it's very important. And it's a topic that is incredibly meaningful to me lately, because whenever I go away on an escape, a vacation, I'm about to go away for work to another state. As some of you know, I'm currently in New Jersey, or if you've been listening, I'm in New Jersey, so I get to go a little bit south next month. And whenever I get away, it gives me clarity. Just that change in location, change in people, change in schedule. And usually the clarity has to do about what do I want to do next, about my career, how can I expand myself more, what services do I want to offer, reminding myself about books, all of that. And once in a great while, it'll also be personally. Who do I want to be personally? What do I need to take care of? I was a bit surprised this time because this trip, I really did shut down entirely about work. I would answer a couple of my clients here and there and take care of some things. For the most part, though, I was really work-free all week. And I actually have found since I came back that was excellent for me. I think it actually made my work better when I came back, and I'm thrilled about that. This time, this trip really forced me to look at my life in a personal way. Who I am, what I'm standing up for myself, what I'm putting up with, and it really brought home for me, where am I being a hypocrite? Because I'm a life coach. I'm a certified life coach with infinite possibilities. I also learned life coaching when I studied hypnosis and became certified in that. And one of my life purposes is to help people live their full lives, to be their full selves. And it came home to me that what I would tell others to do, I'm not doing enough for myself. I put up with too much, and it's really time to take a stand and to not allow that to happen anymore. And it was a very painful, really painful realization, but I don't want to make it sound as if I had a bad trip. I didn't. This trip was, in so many ways, perfect. There were so many ways where I wanted to pinch myself during it and go, oh my gosh, I'm experiencing this right now in this beautiful place. And this is the abundant, prosperous life that I'm living, and how grateful, lucky, blessed am I. So I don't want in any way what I'm saying to you to sound like something that the trip was not in any way positive. It was. But I did have those moments where I got to review. And there were moments, and there have been moments lately, where the people that are closest to me have felt very free to be able to treat me in any way they want, whether they're raising their voice to me or just having a nasty tone, whether it's loud or not, or maybe they're just not considering me and how I'm doing. No, and heaven has a way always of getting us to pay attention, of kind of knocking on the door of our consciousness. So when I came home, even after really confronting that, I was then got a couple wake-up shouts about health and well-being, which I have to tackle, and in other ways as well. So it was kind of, I could see I was being worked with, I'll put it that way. And so I realized, because I had to process it, I had to step back and process why I was having these feelings and what am I going to do about this, about the relationships in my life, about and how I am as a person. And then the answer always is, well, you're teaching people how to treat you, and they're watching, and they can only help but react to that. And so it's time to love yourself. Apparently, I need to love myself more. I need to teach others how to treat me. And so I immediately went into work of changing how I treat myself in health and well-being, because I had slipped a bit. Thankfully, I was in a place that really doesn't use a lot of processed food. I had a pina colada that was not made with anything out of a can. It was made with real coconut milk from real coconuts. It was heavenly. I admitted to one of my primary doctors that when I was on vacation, I had at least one pina colada a day, because to me, it was like the best thing I've ever tasted. He went on, this man, to tell me, this wonderful doctor, about how to make it out of supermarket stuff. And I went, no, you don't get it. I can never have one of those again. I can only have one in that place. And so it just wouldn't be the same. And so, yes, I didn't always eat the most healthfully, but at the same time, what I was eating was made in the most healthful kind of way. It was all natural. It was inherently much better for me. And so, but I came back understanding that there's things that I needed to change. And I had to start doing that for myself, even if I didn't want to, and because it was an act of love. And so I really need to start to implement acts of love. And I also, and that was just to be a start, just a beginning, but I would need to do it in other ways. And I've learned in my life that when you do an act of love or acts of love for yourself, that people who want to be in your life will change. They will follow. And if they really don't care about you, they really don't love you, they really don't care if they're in your life, then they're going to leave. And that is for the better. Even if it's painful, it's for the better. And so here I am again, regrouping, starting my new chapter, starting my new life, and really on the watch to who wants to be there with me and who wants to be there for me. Understanding it starts with me. And then I asked myself as well, what stops me from loving myself fully? Why do I have these blocks? And it came down really to two things. I don't feel I'm worthy. And the second thing is fear. And why don't I feel I'm worthy? Well, that goes right back to the moment I was born and all that I've experienced. And all those moments in time where people who didn't mean it, but were only going through their own experience, taught me that in some way I was not worthy. No matter who it is, and I'm not even in my own top of my head way thinking about one or two people. But there have been experiences all through my life where people would question, why would you do that for yourself? Or to say in some way, there's a certain way of living your life and you really shouldn't expect to go beyond it. And so there was always people, and I bet those listening can connect with this. I bet you've been through this too. People that will teach you that you are limited, that you have to follow by rules, that you have to please a system, or you have to please a God, or you have to please, that you're always have to be in a box, so to speak. And I was taught that too. So I had to really look into that, really tap into that and say, okay, wait a second, why don't you feel you're worthy? And this has to stop, because you are. My logical mindful self knows that I am worthy, I am deserving. I will tell any of you that, no matter who you are. We're all worthy and deserving of what we most desire in this life, and we're especially worthy and deserving of love and tenderness and kindness and happiness and joy and everything. Unconditional love from each and every one of anyone in our lives. And we always have to make sure to keep mindful of that and to live our lives accordingly. The second thing is fear. Fear is, I think, a blocker for every single one of us. It's a blocker that keeps us from leaving a job for a better one. It's a blocker that keeps us from leaving, oftentimes, a relationship because we're afraid we'll be alone. I might be too old to find somebody else. Or something to that effect we'll tell ourselves. It's fear keeps us from maybe getting on a plane because we're afraid of the plane going down. But even if it's not a complete phobia, we always walk around with even a tiniest fear about something. And the one thing that sets apart those who are most successful in life, such as the millionaires and the billionaires, is that they have the fear too. Nobody is immune from fear. Even Jesus Christ had fear because he was in a human body. But the one thing that sets those apart, the ones that we admire, the ones that we wish we could have more of their life or more of their qualities, is that they step forward in spite of the fear. Oftentimes they do it blindly. They have to say, I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to take that baby step. And they will tell you, when in the most fear, take the baby step. It doesn't always have to be the leap, but they do it. And most of the time, they land on their feet. And sometimes they fall, but they always get up again. And they always find that what they feared the most never happened. There was actually a study by a university. I probably will get this wrong, but I know the University of Arizona, for instance, loves to study energy. It really does do a lot of studies, I believe, about those who are more psychic and such. And they're proving, they're finding evidence, these universities, and I know over in London they do studies as well. They study energy. They are finding evidence, actual physical evidence, actual scientific evidence about things of energy. And what they have found out is that 97 to 99% of the time, the what ifs, the what you fear might happen, never happen. Or they happen to a very least extent. But yet a lot of us, most of us I feel, probably don't do what we most want to do because of that what if. And guess what? When we get to heaven, that is our number one regret, or at least our top 3 regrets, is that we didn't do what we wanted to do. Because we find out in heaven, it was never going to happen. What stopped us? So in heaven, the number one regret, I'm told, is that we worry it all. And I do Monday meditations, and tomorrow's meditation for Monday is going to be how to eliminate worry. Because worry is just, there's no purpose to it. 100% of the time, it never changes one outcome. It never makes anything better. It only is a detriment. It only causes you to have a less of a quality of life. It only causes you to have stress. It only causes you to have less health. And it's the number one regret. The number 2 regret is what I just said. We find out that we could have been done, had anything we wanted, and we stopped ourselves because of our fears. or because someone told us we couldn't do it. Number 3 is we don't say I love you enough. We don't express it, and we don't hug enough. And we should have all loved each other. See what you can do to work just a little bit on any of those 3 things, so that you don't, when you pass, have those regrets. You'll still have, if you are a good person inside, a wonderful heaven. It will be paradise. You will feel like you're home. But wouldn't it be nice to just slide in and put your feet up and not have to feel in some way you have to make up for something, or in some way you have to serve someone, or in some way you have to do it better next time? That's what I'm working on. How can I slide in and put my feet up? By the way, I know that I'll probably still have stuff to work on. So I probably won't get it done completely, but it is something that I do think about. And so here's the way that you and I and everyone listening to this can start to really love ourselves. For me, it's about standing up and saying to that person who feels they can just talk to me however they want to, personally, no matter who you are, family, if you consider yourself a friend, whomever you are, I stand up and say, no, I won't be talked to you like that. Secondly, it's forgiving those who aren't there for you. Maybe they didn't realize they weren't. Maybe they were going through their own stuff and they didn't mean it. Now, I tell you that second one is probably what's happening most of the time. There have been times in my journeys lately where people thought about me completely, showed up for me completely, and I was in awe and amazed and grateful and flabbergasted. And then the same people didn't consider me at all. How I was feeling. Was I well? Was I living the life of my dreams in that moment? Was it everything I hoped for? And I'm sure they didn't mean it. So I'm going to forgive them, and I'm going to forgive myself for the fact it mattered. Third thing is, you got to take care of yourself emotionally. If you are sad, is it something you can help yourself with without going to a licensed therapist? For me, part of helping me to be happier is to do active physical things, take care of myself. I'm going to start exercising again. I walked a lot in Bora Bora because I had an overwater bungalow. Yes, that was over the water quite far, so I had to walk. It felt like more, but I'm sure I walked at least a quarter mile a day just getting to the beach and back and forth. And but I want to make that an everyday part of my life. And so I have to start that again. So that's an act of love. And that will make me feel better. I also started to get actively again into getting healing sessions and other holistic things for myself. I've started using essential oils. I've started actively setting goals again, looking into what's the next trip I can plan, because that makes me feel good. Whatever makes you feel good, you do immediately. You give yourself permission to do that. And if it is a deep depression that is more clinical, get to the helper, get to the licensed therapist, find the referral, find the resources, do that because you deserve it. You're doing it for yourself. You're doing it as a self-love act. And you have the right to have that. You are a deserving, worthy human that deserves to have love and happiness and joy. And so never ever stop yourself from doing what is best for you. Never apologize for it. Never make excuses. Never feel ashamed for it. Never feel embarrassed. Always go out and get and do what is the best for you. Especially when it's about what you love and when it comes from a place of love. And I guess the fourth thing is yes, maybe it's a bit of a repeat, but evaluate what's in your life and what you should cut and what you shouldn't cut. If it is somebody who is meaning to treat you with unhealthiness, meaning to be cruel, meaning to be selfish, meaning to be that way, even if they're going through something, even if they have a reason, are they making a conscious choice? I've gone through health things in my life, but I always made the conscious choice to go through it with kindness. I made a point when I was going through chemo and radiation to be kind to all the people around me, the nurses, the patients, the doctors. I always made a point to say thank you. I always made a point to let them know how grateful I was, even more than just saying thank you. It matters. I'm not perfect, but I make a point to say thank you. When I was away, there was a point away where someone didn't come through in the way of service, and I told them about it, but I didn't do it cruelly. I just said, just try to do better, okay? And that was a moment, but every other moment I made a point to say thank you. How can I speak to you in your language? This matters. When I left my resort, I said to the checkout staff, there were two, this was a trip of a lifetime, and I thought that I would only do this once, but I really want to come back. And they both smiled so warmly at me that I can't fully describe it. And one said, we'll be waiting for you, in the warmest possible tone and genuine tone that I knew they meant it. And I was so moved, I said, oh, you can go to the dock, I'll be right back. They knew I didn't mean that, but I meant it, but I didn't mean it at the same time. That's the kind of kindness that I want to have to others. When someone says, may I hug you, Lisa, at the end of an appointment or at the end of a group session or a group event, oh yes, I always say, yes, I'm always open for hugs. Hugs matter. Gratitude, kindness, warmth, it matters. So if someone, no matter what they're going through, says, I'm going through something, but I'd like to take it out on you, I can do it professionally. I can say, I'm sorry, I cannot help you. I cannot have you as a client anymore. But when it's personal, we tend to be slower, don't we? Because we'll say, well, it's what they're this to me. But no. Sometimes those who are closest have to be cut too. And maybe they can't be cut during a day, or in a week, or in a month. But it's all right to be a planner. And so, it's all right to distance yourself from people every once in a while as well. We all sometimes need a break. I'm conscious of that. Even when I travel with someone, I try to give them their own time, because it's just healthier. It's just better. So that we all can really have a good time and that things aren't frayed, because we're all human and we all need space and we all need to have our own time to really be able to soak in what's happening and have our own thoughts and our own feelings. And life can bring us pain, but honestly, that's why we're here, because we chose this boot camp, this place that some people even feel is the hell, in order to see the difference between what is love, what is real love, and what is not. What is someone going through a difficulty, and what is not? What is someone being a teacher to us, and what is not? And even when someone's not really there to be a teacher, what are they teaching us? What is the blessing? And what can we take from that? I take something from every single person that crosses my path, whether they're a lifelong person or whether they're a moment in time. Where was I in that moment? What was I to learn? Was I my greatest self, or do I need to improve? I'm always looking at that. And I do it in a very, once again, loving way. I'm not constantly critical of myself. I'm just always reviewing. Because I am here to be the greatest version of myself that is possible. And so I look at my blocks more than. I'm more conscious of them. And when moments present themselves or lessons present themselves, whether they're during a regular work week or whether they're happening when I'm in paradise, we'll look at it. And last week's theme, the week before that's theme was hypocritical. And I do not choose to be hypocritical anymore. I'm going to live a life that I'm proud of. I'm going to be the person that I'm proud of. And that matters. Because no matter what anyone who's close to me will think of me, and I hope they think positive things, they may say, Lisa, you're fine, but it doesn't matter fully. What matters first, well, I'm not saying it doesn't matter fully. I mean, what should matter most is how I feel about myself. And I'm going to do what I can not to be hypocritical anymore, while continuing to help all of you and anyone who wants to cross my path to choose their highest self always, to choose their goals, to choose their dreams, to always choose love. In every situation, every moment, and every choice. Because that's what it's supposed to be all about. And I have a great understanding that that is supposed to be first, and how I feel about myself will overflow out to others. Because everybody on this earth is equal in the eyes of that greater creator, that greater source, that greatest love. Whether you call it universe, heaven, source, Yahweh, whatever you may call it. That love sees us all and loves us all equally, no matter who we are. And that's oftentimes very hard to come to terms with, because we all so easily judge ourselves, don't we? I'll look at people who choose to be the most vile, hateful, bigoted people, and I actively will remind myself, but they are still loved. They are still loved the same as me. And what a shame they're denying themselves that. But they are loved. They deny themselves that, but they are still loved. And so it's very important to love ourselves first, and to also be very joyful and happy and excited about how it overflows out to others, and want it to. I get such joy out of serving people. I love it. And I want it never to be taken away from me, meaning I never want people to necessarily expect it in a way that they don't share my joy. But at the same time, I don't expect them to, well, let's just say, I don't do unto others with conditions, but I get bummed when they expect it. I give unconditionally. I will give unconditionally to you, but I will never give to you if you expect it, because it's just no fun. But that one, and I don't think any one of us should give to anyone unless it is unconditional. Because when you give with conditions, you're always going to be disappointed. So bringing it back around, it's time to love yourself. It's time to understand it's okay to choose whom you want to be around you. It's okay to take that vacation. It's okay to spend any money you want on yourself. It's okay to not spend money on other people if you don't want to anymore, even if they're loved ones. It's okay to say yes. It's okay to say no. Recently, I was telling a client that I do another act upon myself of love. And that is when I need shoes, when I need a pocketbook, when I need jewelry, I feel, or something. I don't always say, okay, how can you save money? I go, well, what do I really want? And I splurge on myself then. I don't splurge on myself constantly, in the way of material things. But when I do buy a material thing, I'm okay with buying the new car. I'm okay with buying the nice shoes. And that, because it's okay. To me, it's saying I am worthy and I am deserving in that moment. So I am definitely a work in progress, aren't I? But recently when I was saying that to a client and using that in our conversation to also explain to them it's okay for them to do that very same thing, I happened to look down and I realized that every piece of jewelry on me was not a gift I gave to myself, but a gift that someone gave to me. I didn't have one piece of it from myself, and I laughed and I went, well, what do you know? I guess I owe myself a little trip, don't I? Because everything was something wonderful. It was all, it was all very high quality, but all of it was a gift. And I giggled and I went, well, that's wonderful. But it is all right to give to yourself first. I always like to use the airplane analogy that you're on the airplane. I was just on 6 airline flights, 3 different airlines, and thankfully this did not have to happen, even though the ones going across the U.S. were the ones that are most turbulent because we had thunderstorms, but there was not a need for an oxygen mask to drop, thankfully. But the analogy is, and it's how you really should think of your life. You're on a plane, the oxygen mask drops. You're supposed to put it on yourself first. Because if you try to put it on everybody else or your closest loved one near you, you're going to pass out and you may die. Put the oxygen mask of your life on yourself first. And then you will have a full tank and everything you need to give it to everybody else. You'll have full love, full energy. You'll have more time. You'll have more space. You'll have everything. So do it. Love yourself. I'm going to spend this day off for me, where I really don't have anything really fully planned and no obligations. I'm going to go and I'm going to spend this day loving myself. Do it for you too. And even if you do have to be somewhere, helping someone, do it in a place of love. Ask yourself, what do I also need right now? Am I getting tired? It's time to rest. Do I want to spend 10 minutes tonight? Do I want to think about something I'd love for dinner? Do it. Live your life in every moment in a space of love. And I promise you, as it will happen for me, love will be more directed to you. Love will be more magnified. You will see some amazing things happen. And I know I'm going to as well. And I'm excited and I'm anticipating it. And I'm happy and I haven't seen it yet. Because I know it's coming. Because I'm taking a stand that says even if I still have to work on things, beliefs, that who am I to expect this? Who am I to want this? Even though I'm still working on that little quiet voice that came to me from other people and other experiences, my spiritual teacher self, my logical self, my knowing full soul self knows that I am worthy and I am deserving of whatever I would ask for. And that it starts with me. And I will teach others that that is the way it is. So today, on this Sunday morning, I continue what I began just days ago. And whatever that may mean for you, starting a bucket list, having a list of clarity about what you want in your relationship area, just learning to say no when you want to or yes when you want to, or just giving yourself a great new hairdo, whatever that may mean for you in leaps or baby steps. Let's all start now. Let's become our own tribe. Let's get this done. I love you. I wish you all the wealth, all the health, all the joy that can possibly enter your life. I wish you freedom. I wish you freedom from everything that detains you. I wish you freedom to soar. I am rooting for you. Let's root for all of us together and live life in joy, happiness, freedom, giddiness. I wish you answers. I wish you outcomes that are better, that are good, that are great. Thank you so much for joining me on this beautiful Sunday. May God bless you and that you feel all the might and love of God around you. Always and forever. It's there. All you have to do is be open. All you have to do is love. Thank you. Many blessings.